Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 4 on the Series X, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 4-4. It is entitled Powerless. So, on this first coming fight, I couldn't do it. I have done it and I could have done it, but I didn't have the patience to shoot down this long haul with teammates getting in my way. So I backtracked. Let's see. The chapter before this, there's possibly, remember that long shot, or maybe two chapters back? So I do apologize about having a long shot if you potentially don't have one. Unfortunately, in this entire area, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So we've got a long video ahead, and when you see me shoot these boxes up here, it's going to be to prevent enemies from having cover, because we're going to be shooting down this hall eventually, and if you have a long shot, it's much more helpful. Now, you don't have to have a long shot. You could have a Marxa, and like I said, you don't even need the long shot, but I just didn't have the patience to do it without the long shot. So you're going to come down here, and then you're going to have an ambush, and this is the start of a really long checkpoint with four or so juvies, three drones, and then unfortunately all of this crap is on the same checkpoint. So if you see in just a minute, there's going to be some enemies running up from that doorway up there. In the past, I've considered tagging grenades up there, but it only works on your first attempt, because if you die and have already placed frag grenades up where I'm aiming right now, they disappear. So it'd be nice if they kind of change that in the second game, because things like that would be nice, as well as being able to tag up to 4 grenades. Hell, I think in Judgment you can tag as many grenades as you want, like 6 grenades if you wanted to. But on every other Gears of War, there's a limit too. This is the part that I really detest, because if you do push up, excuse me very much, if you push up, you have the chance of getting rushed and having grenades thrown at you. And then if you try to run away, your death it's almost preeminent sometimes. And you have to be in cover over here, because if you're trying to aim around the corner, your teammates will incessantly get in the way. And it's really frustrating. See, it just got demonstrated right there. So we have, excuse me, I always hate when that happens, those coughs, but you can't help it. I'm a human being. And yeah, this is just really, really god awful. But by all means, it's highly possible to just sit back here and shoot the enemies with your Lancer. You know, switch to your snub or your Boltok to get a little bit more zoom if you have to. And you will get rushed back here sometimes, but it's not very frequent. It's just, it's just when you push up. There's a piece of cover up here. Do you see the one? There's one piece of cover where my other teammate's standing in front of right now, kind of over here. This is a really bad spot, but since I know most of the enemies are pretty much all dead. Oh, look at this. That's what happens. You get charged and you get grenades thrown at you. And fortunately, you get a nice checkpoint over here. I've got a pretty decent spot to deal with these pouncers. There's going to be 2 pouncers dropping in on a timer over here. As you can see, you get about 5 seconds to shoot the first one before the second one drops in. And I've come back in this room over here a couple times, and they can come over here. I mean, they can come over here, but it seems like they're preoccupied with your team if you come over here, and then you could just aim over the left shoulder. we do have a path selection coming up, and then how I'm going to deal with the path selection is how I've dealt with the path selections on earlier videos, where since I already have the one of the paths on my Inconceivable guide, I'll just do the other path for this walkthrough, and then on each of the videos for Inconceivable and Insane, I'll just link the one to the other so that people can have an idea of both paths. The path on this particular walkthrough, we're going to be going to I think it's to the right, and that's going to be the easier path. So if you are wanting to do, we're going to do the right path. It's easier. Your teammates even kind of chide you about taking the easier path too. So not only will you kind of get the feeling that it's easier, but your teammates will flat out tell you it's easier. And the reason that this one is easy and the other one is difficult is because the other one kind of throws you to the dogs with having a lot of juvies. But if you do want a long shot, there is the availability to pick up a long shot. I don't know for certain if the paths crisscross enough so that you can choose this easier path and still pick up a long shot, because the long shot is, we're going to take the operations deck, I believe. The long shot is in a webbing on a ceiling area on the other path, but try it and see if you want to pick it up, because, I mean, at this point, you don't need it. That's the thing. You don't need it, because after this, there's going to be a Harambe fight. So right now, we're going to have a lot of running to do. There's some ammunition over here. There's a Marxa. And you're probably going to get into the situation that I'm in, where on Harambe, you're not going to have a power weapon. And sometimes I just like to go back and have exactly what I want for situations. I know not everybody likes to do that, but if you're on the other path, you're going to be down where the teammates are down there. But there are good spots to funnel these juvies into so that they're only coming at you from like one lane. Check my other guide. The link will be in the description. I found a good area for it. And then the long shot is it's along a ramp down and to the right somewhere. And I don't know if you can pick it up on this path. If you are looking for a long shot on this stage, the only other one that I know of is on the last fight with the Snatcher. Okay, so, and I'll be picking that up as well, so you'll see where that one is, that pickup for the long shot. Okay, we have a wheel to turn over here. And then when you're on the other path, you're kind of led into shooting this guy on the turret. He only spawns when you open the door. See, I'm trying to look for him, but he only spawns when you literally open the door. But it doesn't seem like your teammates finish him off as well as you do for them. But Marcus helps out. Marcus is like an enemy sponge over here, because all the juvies always seem to just run up to him. So definitely stay out of the line of fire of the Troika guy. And just help Marcus if he needs it. This could have been an instance where my teammates helped out and took care of the guy behind the turret. I think they did. But I've had many times where Marcus just stepped up and did it, threw a grenade or did some other bravado and took care of the situation. And then this part is awkward, because if you push up, you're going to get rushed most likely. So I would take my time if I were you. Use the Marxa, aim around corners, and be prepared for this kind of nonsense. Always switch to your Lancer. And I think there's one more guy. But you see the problem about enemies rushing all the time. And I'm gonna make bold to come up here. This was just absolutely stupid. He could have punched me, and I could have been done for right there. Anyway, you've got another breaker switch to throw, and then the best thing to do after that, see the door over there to the left? Enemies can't come through that door actually until all these waves are done. So this is a really safe path to go on. So best thing to do is get on the turret. And this is not one of those turrets where it's really risky to use it. But I was playing Gears of War 5 just because I was playing on Inconceivable. I've not done a guide for Inconceivable on Gears 5. I might in the future. But everything about the shooting and it's mostly the shooting. I just don't like it. I don't like the reticle changes. I don't like the sound effects. And I know I'm being really picky, but I'm a purist when it comes to these games. And even what they changed on this game is enough to irk me quite a bit. But they stayed pretty faithful to how the regular experience feels. But they just went completely nuts with the 5th game, and it's going to carry over into the 6th game. That sort of nonsense with upgrades and pseudo open worlds kind of nonsense and sledding around. Big waste of time if you ask me, but when you come down here, you should be getting a checkpoint momentarily. Just be careful. And you're going to be met with a Scion up here, but fortunately you get a nice checkpoint. And this is a Scion that has a drop shot, I think. Is it a drop shot or a buzz kill? Nope, he's got a buzz kill. So if I were you, I would try to run up here and flank all these guys. Just be real careful for any rushers. When he does make them stronger, they're not so strong that they can't be killed. They just have more HP. So don't think that you can't, go after them before you go after the Scion. And I don't think he has the potential to, like the Cantuses in games of old, revive down but not out enemies. I don't think he has that potential. I don't think those guys are weak enough that they can be downed in the traditional way of it. But he's just standing still over here for me. We can just headshot him with a mark set. Make sure you have all your grenades. So what you're going to need for Harambe is all your grenades, and I'm going to be using a buzz kill that's available in the room, and we're just going to use some grenade tag in it. And I was shocked about this Harambe that going down so fast. This guy goes down fast. You could also pick up that buzz kill that we just ran past if you want, but it's not necessary. You do go fairly fast when you're carrying that weapon. So if you want some extra, it's going to come down to really fast actions coming up here with regard to when you're using the buzz kill. You want to put some damage on him with the availability of that weapon, and there's a perfect area that you can go for shelter on this fight. So here we go. Here's the fight. It's right up here. I'm going to shoot it down before I run up there and spawn the enemies. And he's going to come out right about now. So I'm going to sit behind this piece of cover, nail him as much as I possibly can. If he throws that projectile with his chest, just shoot it. And my teammates are actually, throwing some grenades too, which is nice, although I don't think that one hit too much. When I run out, I come up here, I stick a grenade on him, and then I think he gets stunned, and I stick another one on him. But this room back here is very, very safe. You can stay back here. You need to stay like in this area though. It's not, look at this. I can't believe he's already dead. He's going to be dead in 1 second. I can't believe that went so quickly, but those grenade tags seriously wounded him. And he was a goner real fast. It just shows you how strong the grenades are when you stick them to enemies, but there's a big risk. But it doesn't seem like it's much of a risk with that particular Harambe coming out and kind of shuffling to and fro from where we are in here in this safe room, which is kind of a glitchy area for that poor Harambe. And now we've got a pretty difficult fight. A lot of fights in this game, you're just completely bogged down by suppressive fire. And this game definitely preserved the view kick from the third game, where when you're aiming, your view gets compromised and it gets, gets kicked like you get kicked by a donkey. Well, there's a pretty good damn spot to stand over here, actually. There is a scion that comes out of this next building after you've killed, I think, 2 drones. And I always kind of feel sorry for myself when I don't have a torque to headshot the scions, but you can't always have a torque bow. Yeah, this could be a difficult fight if you're in any like problem area out here. So I'm going to come back here, and this works really well, actually. You can go back really far. And yeah, I think it is 2 enemies that need to be killed for that scion to come out, but you need to be warned. More drones come with him, like at least 2, and they're going to get a buff pretty much if you don't have the ability to quickly kill the scion. I don't know if you can headshot kill a scion with a boom shot if it's perfectly hit. Maybe with a perfect active reload too. I don't think so. I know you can't do it with the long shot. So this guy is right in the middle here. I don't anticipate you'll have that many problems on this fight, just because this is a nice position back here, and just always have the Lancer. I like to have the custom Lancer. I'm kind of ruined. I love the look of the custom Lancer so much that I'm just ruined by the other Lancer. Oh, and I did figure out. Remember earlier I was confused about why sometimes I wasn't getting double Lancers when I was trying to. Well, sometimes I'm trying to pick up a Lancer that's on a ground. Say I have the custom Lancer, I'm trying to pick up a Lancer that's on the ground. Even though I switch to another slot, it doesn't give me the Lancer into that slot. It just gives me ammo for my custom Lancer. So you have to switch with somebody else that's already holding that weapon, because anytime just a Lancer is on the ground, when you pick it up, it gets absorbed into ammunition for the custom Lancer, and you won't be able to have 2 Lancers. But it is possible, and I don't think I've had 2 Lancers at any point, but as I've said before, I find it quite redundant to have 2 Lancers because there's no difference to them except the aesthetics of what they look like. There's no advantage gameplay-wise. And then we've got some odd rooms coming up, but they're nicely checkpointed, really nice. I think you get up to 2 checkpoints on these areas over here. There's a couple of static pieces of cover that don't move, so you always want to be finding those, because if you are hiding behind the cover that moves, once it does move, it will put you out of the cover, and even worse, it staggers you for a second, which is kind of punitive. I think it's ridiculous. I don't like how it does that. But there's just a few guys out here, and you don't need to worry too much about these engagements because you're not asked to do, wave upon wave of enemies. Now, coming up for the next chapter, there is a swarm rack at the end, and I would recommend that you have a torque bow, because see how you get staggered like that? I hate it. I would recommend having a torque bow. So I'm going to be leaving the stage with a torque bow and a long shot. The first fight on the next chapter, the torque bow is useless, but we can switch with somebody else that has a Lancer and then switch back if we need to. But definitely don't forget to pick up the Lancer. I'll remind you again too. And I believe it always gives you 8 rounds. It's a static pickup for it, and it's really, really good because even though 8 rounds doesn't seem like much, sometimes they give you a random amount that can vary from like 2 to 6, you know. And these enemies can get killed to the chains just like you can too. So I'm using the hammer burst a little bit. I don't like it, but it's something different. In this particular hammer burst, you have to keep clicking in the trigger to use it. You can't just hold it, which I don't like. I think they should give you the choice of what you want to do. Okay, so we have a checkpoint, and in this next room over here, I believe there's a drop shot over to the left, as well as some more ammunition. It's not in this room. It's over to the left, I think, somewhere. But I'm not, to be honest, I don't know how to use the drop shot, and I don't use it. I don't. When you don't know how to use something very properly, what can you do unless you practice with it? But I don't like it to begin with, so I don't use it. Now there's an office area back here, because you see these crates that we're hiding behind. They are destructible, but the enemies have to really shoot them to destroy them. So I come in here. There must be a collectible in this area somewhere back here because there's nothing else. It's just completely empty. So I'm thinking there was a collectible back here because there's even more to this office. There's a big storeroom back there. But there's absolutely nothing, so I'm thinking there was a collectible. But you can aim around the cover over here. The only problem is that the Scion is too far over to the right. He's not spawned yet, but when he does come in, he's too far to the right to be able to do this trick on him. But I'll show you a better spot to reposition in just a minute. I'm not sure where he comes from. I think he just comes down from the stairs. You might be able to hit him. I don't know. I just couldn't hit him from over here. He was just way too far over to the right. Yeah. But he'll move though, so if you want to wait for him, you can. But I just didn't want to prolong this anymore. Since I knew that there's a good enough spot in the room that we just left. This one back here. So we have some armored drones. This means that they've got a buff from that Scion. And just get used to this kind of thing because they will charge you back here. And then you need to be careful of the drop shot. What I think it is, I think it's an upside down digger. You know, the digger from Gears of War 3. So I haven't been able to wrap my head around that lately. So here he is, right over here. I marked him so that you can see him. And so that my teammates could possibly give me a little bit of a hand. And then for the next fight, it's kind of a long fight, but it's a situation where you divide up, but you don't have a choice about it. So there's not like a necessity for me to cover any particular paths because you're always on the same path. But your teammates always have a problem. They always need assistance quickly, which doesn't mean anything because it's not going to fail you. They're invulnerable pretty much. But just get used to them asking for a hand and complaining from the opposite side of the dam that we're going to be on. And as for the enemies themselves, there's going to be a hunter on both sides, so you can pick up a torque from those drops of each one of them. So we can bring that, and you don't have to bring the hammer. You don't need to bring the torque into the next round because, like I say, it's completely useless in the first fight, and the first fight is very difficult. But since you could switch weapons with somebody, it doesn't really matter. But for instance, if you forget to bring a torque bow, there's going to be enough torque bows. accumulated throughout the stage, so that when you get to the storm rack, you'll have them. And I only really use the torque bows on the scions to headshot them, and that only requires 2 rounds. If I decide to do it, I'm not sure. Last time I did it on my other walkthrough, it was a little difficult, but since this has a higher frame rate, I don't think the frame rate has any difference, because this game has FPS boost that you can turn on. I think it's turned on automatically, but there is an M bar over here if you want to use it, and then you just got to watch out. See, your teammates are on the other side, and then you've also got the hunter, so you want to be careful of him. This is a perfect angle to hit him from right here. So try to grab his torque bow. I'm going to switch to my bolt talk to zoom in a little bit better. Okay, so this side's cleared, but notice on the other side we have teammates downed. That was an accident. That's only the first time that's happened in this walkthrough, I think. First or second time. So I'm going to pick up the torque bow if I can find it. Where is it? Where is that thing? Here it is. And you're going to be crossing the way. But the enemies are usually focused on your teammates. But if I were you, I would try to get over here before you see this Y prompt. I was slow to do it, but that's just how the situation turned out to pass. But over here, the only real problem about this is that sometimes when he has snatched somebody, so to speak, and you're trying to fire at him, sometimes he has already spewed fire on the stairs that you need to go up to have a decent area to shoot this guy. So, that could be a problem. And unfortunately, you don't get any more checkpoints. So, you definitely need to be aware that you can fall back as much as you want. The trade-off, though, is if you fall back too much, your teammates are going to get snatched, and you're going to have to go deal with them. But usually at that point, he's walking away. But as I've mentioned on other snatchers, even though he's grabbed a team... Oh, did you see what happened there? I had already charged up the torque bow, and then I rolled, thinking it would preserve the charge of the torque bow, let me shoot, but it detonated automatically on me, and it almost killed me. So just keep hitting his weak spot, and if he does grab a teammate, he will try to go up to the top of the dam and leave, and then that results in a fail state for you. And there is not as much time as you might think to rescue your teammate, so you need to be really careful about that. And definitely take this long shot. This long shot will help you on the next fight. And like I say, you get 8 every time, which is nice. Better than 2, right? I don't remember what you get on Inconceivable. Maybe 6. Hell, maybe 8. I have no idea. But I'm gonna pick up the other torque. Believe me, the long shot is extremely helpful on the next fight. But it's funny that the torque bow is pointless, because there's going to be weather effect. I didn't mention that, but there's weather effects that occur on the next fight, so that your projectile with the explosive weapons, if you're using those, or frag grenades, anything like that, they're going to be useless, rendered void. So all you have now to do is just run through this area and climb the ladder to the top of the dam, and then that is going to be completely it. You might search the area more than I did over here, but since I was confident I had everything I needed, I decided to just get to the end and have done with it. And that is the second to last chapter of Act 4, and I will see you on the final act. It will be 4-5, excuse me. Please take care.